どうすればだと。
あなた、思想が見える。優勢、あなた戦っているのね。
仲間じゃねえのかよ。俺は仲間のため、お前のために絶対にダークシグナーを倒す。俺は死んでなどいない。
After the final blow from Stardust Dragon, we pick right back where we left off as a bloodied Jack Atlas tries to pick himself up after losing the duel. Rally and the others see that Yusei had won where the crowd is chanting his name on live TV. Two reporters arrive at the scene and attempt to get the story immediately, with Carly being agitated at being pushed aside by Angela. Jack is taken out via stretcher, and Yusei is then yelled at by other members of the crowd that he is scum. The Neo Domino gang arrive and get Yusei out of the arena before he is bombarded by the media. Godwin doesn't mind that Jack had lost as he notes that the stars have started to align. As they leave the area in an underground passage, Ruka tells Yusei that she had also seen the vision during the final and saw that satellite would be destroyed. Yusei says that if that was the future, he will stop it. Godwin encounters the press to apologize for not showing the end of the duel due to a system glitch, but Carly asks if Yusei's glowing arm meant anything. Godwin brushes it off and leaves while staring down Carly. Carly believes that she has a scoop and video proof of Yusei's arm glowing. We are introduced to the Dark Signers as they are gathered in the dark like true edgelords while explaining that it took 5,000 years to meet again. Back at Saiga's hideout, Yanagi draws an old hieroglyph that he had seen that resembles the Crimson Dragon, then notes that the dragon was split into 5 parts: the head, claws, wings, legs, and tail. Tomorrow points out that only 4 signers were present before Ruka goes unconscious. Hooded figures begin to preach on the street in Satellite that the Crimson Dragon had arrived yearning for blood. As they spew their gospel, citizens of Satellite unknowingly have spiders drop on them. At night, Yusei feels his mark throb and sees a duelist with the mark of the spider outside. Yusei chases after the hooded figure to a parking garage and is challenged to a shadow duel. As the duel begins, he is surrounded by purple flames. Carly's duel radar goes off and she ventures to where Yusei is. Yusei quickly finds out that as he takes life point damage, he also feels pain. The hooded duelist combos into dark synchro summoning Frozen Fitzgerald. Don't worry, you don't need to learn a summoning mechanic like this in real life. At least not yet. After receiving more damage, Yusei summons Nitro Warrior to attack multiple times and wins the duel. Yusei grabs the duelist and demands to know what is going on. The man has no clue and his mark has disappeared. Carly tries to get details about the duel while Yusei sees that the Dark Tuner and Synchro Monster have disappeared from the deck. With all the noise that the duel made, security arrives and Yusei gets the hell out of there while Carly is detained. Godwin reviews the footage of the duel and claims that Destiny has called the Dark Signers forward. As the hooded figures continue to preach, Rally defends the Crimson Dragon by saying that the new king is Yusei and the dragon was summoned to signify hope. The crowd turns on Rally and Blitz and they run off to the hideout. There, they are visited by Saiga. Yusei makes the decision to return to Satellite, but Yugioh arrives with security. Yusei calmly approaches him, demanding to see Godwin. After Carly leaves jail, she makes her way to the red carpet premiere of Jack's documentary. Although she arrives all sorts of frumpy looking, she catches the eye of Misty, the world's top model. Jack watches the premiere of his documentary while hospitalized, and Yusei is pacing around in a private room waiting for Godwin. During the premiere, it is revealed that Jack was also from Satellite, causing the press to get in a tizzy. Godwin dismisses this, and this causes Carly to run off to investigate. Before she can, she runs into Misty.
あなたのお顔、すごく気になるものですから。私、占いが好きで。あなた、思想が見える。
Jaeger interrupts Yusei and Ushio by telling Ushio to go retrieve Jack at the hospital while Godwin meets with Yusei. Carly rushes to the hospital in a nurse outfit to blend in, and a spider lands on Ushio, causing the mark to appear on him. Jack attempts to leave the hospital, but is intercepted by the possessed Ushio. Dark Ushio challenges Jack to a duel, but Carly warns him that Yusei encountered the same danger. Jack's pride is equal to Vegeta's as he believes that he can also beat a Dark Signer, then tells Carly to be his hands to successfully duel. Jack gains the early life point advantage, but realizes that there will be actual damage inflicted to the duelist after feeling the explosion from his dragon. Despite Dark Ushio milling Jack's deck, Jack and Carly summon Exploder Wing to destroy the Dark Synchro Monster as well as a section of the hospital. Jack asks Carly to sneak him out of the area. Meanwhile, Yusei meets with Godwin where he tells Yusei that he senses a great destiny for him. Godwin explains that there was a bridge that was supposed to connect Satellite to Neodomino, and believes that Yusei will complete this. Yusei tells Godwin that he can just complete the bridge. Godwin declines and says that it will bring forth Satellite's destruction. Godwin then asks if Yusei had encountered Dark Signers, the enemy of the Signers. Godwin explains that their souls had resurrected after 5,000 years and the world is at stake. Godwin then tells Yusei that the 5 dragons were used to combat the Dark Signers and their gods. A brief vision is shown where the dragons fend off the gods and send them plummeting to Earth, but Ancient Fairy Dragon is caught and dragged down with them. The Crimson Dragon was then divided into 5 pieces and sealed in the human world. Yusei wants to know why this is all happening now, and Godwin provides more context. Godwin explains that the Momentum Machine in Neodomino is the successor to the first version that was originally in Satellite 17 years ago. The machine was built to provide energy and a prosperous city, but the immense energy caused destruction. The same type of energy was emitted from the Nazca lines as the seal had weakened. Godwin had predicted that the battle between the Signers and the Dark Signers would happen, and had created the Fortune Cup to gather the Signers into one location. Yusei tells Godwin to evacuate the citizens, but Godwin says that if no one were in Satellite, the battle would go to Neodomino and would endanger them. Yusei is in disbelief that Godwin would be willing to sacrifice the citizens of Satellite, but Godwin tells Yusei that it's destiny and provides him his D-Wheel. At the same time, a branded young man is stealing cards from some file cabinets. The alarms go off and Crow jumps through the window and rides off. Security attempt to stop him by forcing a duel, but Crow summons Blackwings, an Edison format favorite and one of the decks that brought me back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Crow combos into Bora the Spear, dealing piercing damage to Security's monsters, then majestically jumps across the edge using the wings on his D-Wheel. He takes the stolen cards to some kids in Satellite and is shown to be the Robin Hood of the area. Yusei makes the jump off of the helicopter into Satellite where he is met by Crow. Ushio wakes up from the duel with Jack, then Mikage demands to know what was going on during the duel. She then explains that the priority is to find Jack. They arrive at Carly's apartment and demand to have him returned. Jack sternly says no and tells them to get the f*** out of there, further proving that blue-haired anime girls cannot get together with their love interest. After Jack replays how the duel with Yusei went down, he runs off on his own with Carly out looking for him. People in the area begin to recognize Jack, and Carly pulls him away to scold him for going around on his own while the press is actively looking for him. Jack tries to tell her to shut up, but Carly doesn't put up with it and puts the worst disguise possible on Jack. Carly tries to cheer Jack up by taking him to amusement park rides.
いい加減にしろ。
ジャックアトラスだ。みんなジャックは嘘つきだって言ってるけど僕はいつも応援してるぜ。
Carly soon realizes that Jack is hurting emotionally, but Angela makes a timely appearance to say out loud that they are trying to get the scoop on Jack being from Satellite and a liar. Jack overhears this and leaves Carly behind. Yusei and Crow do their best Predator impression and have the manliest handshake known to Yu-Gi-Oh! The two ride off to go over the recent events, then make it to the Satellite Gang's hideout. After exchanging some pleasantries, security find Crow and demand that he come out. Crow says nah, then Yusei joins up with them to play around with security. The first tag duel in this series is on motorcycles. This series is awesome. Crow synchro summons Blackwing Armor Master to place a wedge counter on Gate Blocker. Yusei then summons Turbo Warrior to attack the defense monster after the counter is removed and deals lethal damage with the help of Crow's trap card. As they keep going, Crow asks if Yusei knew how Jack was doing as Neodomino found out that he is from Satellite. Crow also asks if Yusei still hates Jack for what he did 2 years ago. Yusei says that Jack chose a path, but he still believes in him. Carly realizes that Jack was attempting to go to the city tower and finds him there staring out into the ocean. Carly tells Jack that he cannot see Satellite from where they're standing. Jack reflects on his selfish actions from 2 years ago and confesses that he chose ego and pride over everything he had. She comforts Jack as he can start his life anew by letting his past self die. Jack agrees and says that he will follow his own path. The Satellite Gang make their way to Bad to meet with Yusei and Crow. At night, Yusei tells everyone about the vision that he had of Satellite, while Crow shares with the kids a story about the legendary D-Wheeler that had created the Daedalus Bridge, a symbol of hope for those living in Satellite. Security had arrived to stop the bridge from being built, but the legendary D-Wheeler chose freedom and drove off the incomplete bridge over being arrested. Crow says that no one knew what had happened to the legend, but he lives on in the hearts of Satellite citizens. Saiga tells Yusei that his mark shows that the spirit of the D-Wheeler legend lives through him. Yusei says he is not that guy. Godwin watches a special news report about Nazca lines showing up, disappearing, and comments that the Dark Signers have made their move. Jack and Carly also watch this report, and Carly says that the mark that had appeared before was similar to these. At their hideout, one of the Dark Signers announces that Yusei is his prey. Yusei tries to leave the camp, but Crow stops him from leaving on his own. Yusei tries to dissuade Crow from following him by telling him that he will be risking his life participating in these duels, but Crow won't forget his promise of protecting the children of Satellite. Yusei and Crow make their way to the site of the old Moment Machine. Then a purple haze appears before them. Yusei, Jack, Ruka, and Aki's arm begin to glow crimson. A phone call comes through late at night at Carly's place to inform them that Mikage will be taking them to Yusei on Godwin's orders. Carly wants to know what Jack's relationship is to Yusei and riles him up enough to defend him. Jack states that Yusei was born in the top of Neodomino and his parents worked as researchers for MIDS. Carly asks why Yusei was sent to Satellite. Jack mentions the Zero Reverse incident where Satellite and Neodomino were once connected. Mikage adds that Zero Reverse was an accident and Yusei's parents were responsible for this, causing myths to cover it up. Yusei's parents both died in the accident and the orphan Yusei was taken into a home in Satellite. While riding, Crow is stopped by a card being thrown across him and the first actual Darkseiner reveals himself.
俺がどれほどこの時を待ったかお前たちには分かるまい。なぜ俺たちの名を俺のことを忘れたか。お前の知っている俺とどう違うか確かめてみるか。
Kiryu demands that he and Yusei settle their destinies through a speed duel as the track is made of the destroyed concrete and purple flames. Crow can't get through the flames and scales a hill to see the action. The Satellite Gang make way to Yusei knowing that he had gone off on his own, but everyone in the surrounding area can see the lines in the sky. Jack sees the Nazca lines and demands that the helicopter get lower. Jack and Crow make eye contact, then Jack demands that the helicopter get closer. He sees that Yusei and Kiryu are there, with Kiryu commenting that all four have been reunited. Kiryu tells Yusei that he will never forgive him for the betrayal that led to his death. A flashback shows that Crow had lost the duel to some punks in capes, but it was all part of a plan. The wall suddenly explodes and three figures emerge that challenge the punks to duels. They all toss handcuffs to make sure that the four do not escape. The trio of Yusei, Jack, and Crow begin their duels while the leader of Team Satisfaction, Kiryu, takes on the opposite team's leader. They got that shit all in for real. After the team's flawless victory, the four cape losers have their dual discs electrocuted. It is then revealed that Team Satisfaction had captured District D, showing that they are in the middle of a turf war. Jack explains that he, Yusei, and Crow were all friends since they were little, but Kiryu was the ray of hope for them. Forming Team Satisfaction gave the trio a purpose to be satisfied with living in Satellite.
かつての仲間同士の命をかけた戦いを
Kiryu aggressively drives towards Yusei and he is forced into the duel. Kiryu begins things with Infernity Beast, while Yusei starts things off with Speed Warrior. Kiryu quickly begins to discard cards. He deals damage to Yusei, causing his D-Wheel to briefly spin out and slam into the fires. Yusei gets right back into the duel by calling forth Junk Warrior. Kiryu responds by Dark Synchro summoning 100 Eyes Dragon, and uses the effect of Infernity Beast engraved to stop Yusei from activating spells or traps. Yusei asks why they must fight, and we receive our second flashback. Team Satisfaction had taken over most of Satellite with only District M left. The squad make their way there and enter another turf battle with everyone easily defeating the other squad members. Yusei takes on the rival leader, but he's not interested in dueling. He jumps off the roof onto a nearby one and yanks Yusei off before tossing off his dual disc to drop Yusei to his death. Kiryu catches Yusei with his own handcuff and barely holds on. Cut back to present day and Kiryu puts on the pressure by using monsters in his grave to give 100 Eyes effects to destroy Yusei's monsters.
Kiryu, お前はこんなやつじゃなかったはずだ
Kiryu is hearing none of this and continues to strike at Yusei, forcing him into the fire. Yusei keeps pushing his D-Wheel to its limit to keep up with Kiryu and successfully summons Stardust Dragon. After Yusei completes damage then, he activates Miracle Locust to break Kiryu's handless combo and attacks a second time and destroys 100 Eyes Dragon. However, Kiryu adds a monster to his hand. Yusei attempts to end the duel with burn damage from his trap effect, but Kiryu takes half the damage using his own. During end phase, Kiryu summons Ghost Tokens and follows up with revealing which card he will summon on his turn. As he prepares, people that had vanished from Satellite appear outside the flames and are used as sacrifices along with the Ghost Tokens to summon Earthbound Immortal, Kapakapu. Kiryu engages in battle and Kapakapu attempts a lethal strike on Yusei before his D-Wheel gives out and crashes. Ruka and Aki both feel that something had happened to Yusei while Godwin watches from his office. Kiryu pulls up on Yusei saying that his D-Wheel saved him, and then tells Yusei to suffer, feel pain, and be afraid. Everyone rushes to Yusei and find that he had been impaled with scrap metal in his abdomen. Crow rushes him off for treatment at the house while Jack is forcefully returned to the city. Rally and the gang pick up Yusei's D-Wheel that they had all built together through territory filled with scavengers. In a bit of levity from the intensity, the Satellite Gang give up their cards and clothes, then run off in their underwear. Saiga intercepts them and helps them make way to their destination. Crow makes it to the house and calls for Martha to help treat Yusei's wounds. Back at Neodomino, Rua, Ruka, Himuro, and Yanagi are at the Twins' condo. Ruka had dreamed of the battle between the Earthbound Immortals and Signer Dragons, and Rua believes that he is the 5th Signer since the 5th Signer looked like his Power Tool Dragon card. The Neodomino gang discuss how the Signers should be a team, but Himuro brings up the valid point that the Arcadia movement would also be an ally to the Signers, and they can't be too sure about it. Cut to Aki in a training session, and Divine notices that Aki's powers have not been as strong as before. Divine knows that Aki's powers are tied to her strong emotions, then thinks that it may be waning due to Yusei's interference. Divine gaslights Aki by saying that friends, parents, and society treat psychic duelists as outcasts, and that he is the one that can help Aki. Divine further pushes this narrative by saying that Yusei cannot save her. Aki walks off, and Divine is informed that he has received a call from Himuro. The Neo Domino gang make their way in their best formal attire at the Arcadia headquarters. Rua enthusiastically tells Divine about the Darksigners and how he wants Aki to help Yusei. Divine agrees, then excuses himself to retrieve her. Suddenly, the group feels sleepy and are all knocked unconscious. Divine returns with subordinates wearing gas masks, then leaves Himuro and Yanagi locked underground while Rua is forced to duel Divine. Aki and Ruka watch on from above as Divine attempts to force out psychic powers out of Rua. There, Divine reveals that he isn't interested in the Darksigners and says that he is training psychic duelists to become soldiers to lend out for war as vengeance for discrimination. Rua is put through pain to see if he has latent power, but he summons Power Tool Dragon to get back into the duel. Divine summons Thought Ruler Archfiend. He tells Rua that he does not have the power that Divine is looking for, then knocks him out using his psychic powers through Thought Ruler's attack. Yusei experiences a nightmare from his battle with Kiryu and is then told that his friends brought him to safety. Yusei explains that he was investigating the disappearance of citizens from Satellite. Martha tells Yusei that she had raised him, Jack, and Crow, and Yusei should ask for help from his friends while facing this task. Later, Yusei inspects his D-wheel and is encouraged by his friends to ask for any kind of help, but he cannot get past the fear of facing Kiryu again. Back at her apartment, Carly feels sadness as Jack had left her. Jack destroyed the footage that Carly had of the duel and warns her to stay away. Jack further says that he wants Carly to remain safe. She is not dissuaded from digging deeper into the story and reasons that it will also keep her close to Jack. She makes way to a figurine shop where she sees the participants of the Fortune Cup with glowing forearms. She decides to go to the Arcadia complex to question Aki as she cannot access Jack, Yusei, or Ruka. She trades a super special awesome secret rare DMG figure to the shopgooner for information on the Arcadia movement, only to find that Misty's name is attached to it. Himuro and Yanagi wake up and try to come up with a way to escape. Aki tells Ruka that she and Rua are now in their new home as people will come to fear Ruka's powers. Aki reasons that she does not want Ruka to go down the same path as her and it will be for Ruka's protection. The brainwashing she has received is scarily accurate to real life situations. Ruka attempts to reach out to Ancient Fairy Dragon where she is warned that the Darksigners are coming. Ancient Fairy Dragon instructs Ruka to find Regulus to free her and she will protect Ruka for the rest of her life. Meanwhile, Carly attempts to connect with Misty at her home and Misty takes the time to meet with her.
素敵なところですね。寂しいものよ。所詮一人なんてね。どんな暮らしをしても愛する人と一緒だからこその人生。どうぞ。それで聞きたいことって何かしら。
Carly tells Misty that she is investigating the Arcadia movement and hands the document to Misty. Misty looks over the documents, then says that it is true and her brother was killed by the Arcadia movement's witch. Carly notes that the Security Bureau would have had a reason to take down Arcadia, but Misty says that Arcadia must have some dirt on them to still be active. She then warns Carly to stay away. As Divine tells Aki that she will be the face of the Arcadia movement, Carly strolls through in a housekeeper disguise where she bumps into the pair. She then goes to Divine's room to look over his bookshelf. Carly triggers a hidden room and Divine senses it. Carly quickly goes through the hidden books and finds new info on Godwin. Divine immediately interrupts her and corners her to the window to challenge her to a duel. Carly is unaware of the extreme danger she is in and accepts. Divine quickly overpowers her field and uses his abilities to force her onto the window. Divine does not let up and the glass continues to break. Carly warns that security will investigate if Divine continues. He negates and says that the Arcadia movement is untouchable as they know Godwin's secret. He is actually from Satellite. Divine then uses his psychic power.
ではさらばだ。
そう。あなた、思想が見える。ザック。
With an intense desire to live, Carly's body is taken and flames erupt in Neo Domino, causing tremors, lightning, and Nazca lines to appear. As Divine tells everyone to get to safety, Carly stumbles back into his office with the mark of a Darksider appearing on her forearm. Himuro and Yanagi take advantage of the weakened door and escape the room to find Rua and Ruka. They bust down the door to the room and smash the glass pane to the recovery room to get Rua. Jaeger demands to see what is going on, with Godwin in disbelief that Nazca lines are in Neo Domino. Aki is looking for Divine but is stopped by Misty. She reveals herself as a Darksider and seeks vengeance for the death of her brother. Aki claims that she has no idea what she is talking about, but Misty dons her Darksider attire and forces the duel. Carly is reborn with blacked out eyes and challenges Divine to a dark duel. This time, it's Divine that doesn't recognize the danger he's in. Divine feels the impact from the power of a Dark Signer and is brought down to his knees. Carly foretells that Divine's destiny is death. A second set of flames erupt in Neo Domino, with Jack climbing to the top of a building to avoid them. The three Signers' arms begin to glow as they feel Aki begin her duel. Jack rushes off to the building he senses the duel coming from. Security is stopped in the middle of transporting a detained bomber. Aki quickly summons Black Rose Dragon. Misty counters by setting up her field with Savage Coliseum and attacks into Black Rose to reduce its attack points to 0. Despite it being destroyed, Aki combos into bringing back Black Rose Dragon during the battle phase to destroy all cards on the field. Misty calls out Aki's methods of dueling by saying that Aki only causes destruction, causing others to feel helplessness. Misty then tells Aki that she killed her brother. Aki denies having done so and cannot remember the boy that attended her match. A shockwave is sent through the city with the shell of the Earthbound Immortal taking the citizens of Neo Domino as sacrifice. Ruka and the others watch the duel only to see that Misty has successfully summoned another Earthbound Immortal, Kakaraiwa. Bomber is released from his chains and is told that if he still feels the desire for revenge, to follow the hooded figure. Carly, in complete control, tells Divine to entertain her the same way he did before. Divine combos into special summoning Magical Android to reduce Carly's life points. Carly tributes both her Fortune Ladies to summon the third Earthbound Immortal, Azliapiscu. Aki demands to know where the monster is before turning around to see that it's staring at her from outside. Divine turns around to see Azliapiscu outside and the burn damage ends the game and destroys the building, causing him to plummet stories below to his apparent demise. Aki watches in horror before Misty abandons the duel. Jack arrives and charges into the building to find any survivors. He sees that Carly's broken glasses are on the floor and tries to search for her. He finds a knocked out Aki and quickly gets her out of the rubble. Carly, now aware of what has transpired, breaks down in tears after learning that she had murdered Divine. Misty tells her that she was chosen by a god of death due to her strong desire to live and was granted that wish in exchange for becoming a Dark Signer. The following morning, the aftermath of the duels are made public as Angela reports on the destruction and hieroglyphs that appeared in the middle of Neo Domino. It is shared that the only survivor from the Arcadia building is recovering at Domino Hospital with 120 people missing. Aki's parents arrive to see how she is doing, but they are told that Aki may never regain consciousness. Rua asks if they can do anything to help Aki. Jack says no, but he knows someone that can. Cut to Yusei testing out his D-wheel while still in his feelings. Aki's father, Hideo, arrives to convince Yusei to help his daughter. Hideo says that he and his wife are not good enough to save Aki, but Martha tells him to calm down and to explain what exactly is going on. Hideo reveals that his work as a congressman had not given him enough time to spend with his daughter. He missed her birthday, he left for extended time, and prioritized work over dueling with Aki. After Hideo answers his phone to attend to a situation, Aki angrily continues her turn and activates her trap, accidentally triggering her latent power as a psychic duelist and signer.
何これ何
アキ、なんだその力。お前はまるで化け物。取り返しのつかない一言でした。あの恐ろしい力を持つアキと、一体どうやって。
After an incident at school, Hideo slaps Aki but instantly regrets it. He admits that he forced Aki into attending Duel Academy where another incident occurred. She runs away from the academy to her house and finds that her mother and father are enjoying time together by drinking wine and laughing. Aki sunk further into her sorrow and lashed out by destroying the house. Aki remembers the same events while she is unconscious and remembers Divine using tender words to convince her to stay at Arcadia to guide her into a happier life. She also remembers the duel with Yusei at the Fortune Cup where he pushes Aki to love herself. I'm not crying, you are. Yusei doesn't feel confident in his current state to help Aki, but is implored to do so by Hideo, and Martha challenges Yusei's fear to do the right thing. She tells Yusei to rely on his friends to help him through the trial, then decides that now is the time to tease Yusei about liking Aki to break the tension. Yusei is flown to Domino Hospital to see Aki and he wipes her tears. After Aki wakes up, she sees her parents and immediately becomes withdrawn before remembering that she watched Divine fall to his death. She becomes hysterical and pulls her dual disc to use her power against Hideo. Aki says that Yusei had lied to her about the signers wanting to be her friends and immediately begins the duel. She begins dealing damage to Yusei and summons Black Rose Dragon, unleashing strong gusts of wind in the room to scare everyone. Aki's pain makes her exclaim that since her home was taken away from her, she will destroy everyone else's. Even though Aki harms Yusei, he finds a way to summon Stardust Dragon to protect everyone in the room. Stardust and Yusei continue to endure the pain that Aki and Black Rose inflict, and she calls out Yusei for not being able to save anyone. Yusei agrees, then claps back that he will never abandon a friend in need. Aki lets out that she was only ever accepted by Divine, causing Hideo to snap back into reality and face the fact that he caused the torment that Aki had gone through. He admits that he feared her power, that he was weak, and ultimately in the wrong. He professes love for his daughter, but she doesn't want to hear empty words. Aki whittles Yusei's life points down to 50 through burn damage, and Hideo stays in front of Yusei to absorb the hits. Aki can no longer control her power, but her father continues to walk to her accepting the pain.
来るな来るな
ダメだ。それ以上は危険だ。いいんです。決めたんです。 アキラ、いくら私を傷つけようと、私はアキから目をそらさない。
Aki tries to shut back down, but Yusei calls out to her for the first time using her first name to force her to look at her father. Yusei combos into clearing the field and destroys Black Rose. Aki revives it, but soon realizes that her power is out of control. When Hideo has his safety threatened, Aki reaches out and everything stops moving.
Aki.
Hideo embraces Aki for the first time in a decade, and the two begin to reconcile while Yusei motivates Aki to return to her home and think for herself. Yusei then says that the mark of the Crimson Dragon has united the four. Aki cannot let go of her feelings of dependence on Divine, but Yusei shares that he understands the feeling as he cannot let go of his own friend, even though he will have to move forward for his sake. After the duel, Yusei and Aki review the footage of children being kidnapped and forced into servitude in the Arcadia movement. Mikage reveals that Divine was looking to create soldiers out of the duelists to send them out to war zones.
私にとってはかけがえのない存在だった。
分かっている。それでいい。俺はお前を否定したりしない。
Later, the signers are invited to Godwin's home. He guides them to the altar where the signers see the symbol of the Crimson Dragon. Godwin says that Crimson Dragon led the signers to Neo Domino and that they cannot defy their destinies as they are reincarnations of legendary signers. Rua and Ruka then ask where the fifth signer is. Godwin provides a white lie and says that the fifth signer will appear when the time is right. Godwin confirms that thousands of years ago, Crimson Dragon had sealed the evil gods to Earth. The Vanishing Lines were the work of the Dark Signers, where their powers came from the dead as human sacrifices helped summon the Earthbound Immortals. Godwin tells the Signers that from here on out is a battle as their actions will dictate if Neo Domino, Satellite, and all their citizens are destroyed. Yusei wants to know how Kiryu, a friend that he believed was long dead, became a Dark Signer. Godwin tells him that it was better if they did not know the answer. After persisting, Godwin reveals that Dark Signers cannot return to their former selves as they are husks filled with souls of the dead. He further says that Dark Synchro monsters represent the envoys of the afterlife, but destiny is moving and they can no longer waste time. While everyone begins mentally preparing for the battle with the Dark Signers, Yusei spends time alone going over Kiryu's death until Jack steps up to him.
あいつにとどめを刺すために俺はどうすれば。
どうすればだと。教えてやる。ジャック。
万事滞りなく。
Crow walks towards the moment site in Satellite and runs into Jaeger. He chases him to a warehouse where Crow is warned to not go near the site. Crow doesn't bite and handcuffs Jaeger, demanding to know why someone from the public maintenance department was there. The two then engage in a duel. Jack knocks Yusei to the ground to wake him up from his empty state, saying that it was Yusei that died now that he no longer has the fire or will to move forward. As Jack is about to throw another blow at Yusei, he strikes back before blatantly saying,
死んでなどいない。
Rua doesn't want to make the trip to Satellite as he believes that he will only be a burden to Ruka, but she says that she is scared and needs her brother with her. After Yusei thanks Jack for helping him come to his senses, Jack pulls out Carly's glasses and acknowledges that he has someone he needs to protect as well. The signers all gather at the garden with newfound resolve to make their way to Satellite. This season is all heart and possibly the best season of Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. Back to action, Crow is on the ropes with Jaeger's continuous traps with 2,000 life points remaining, but Crow activates Fake Feather to destroy the opposing trap monster to remain in the game. Crow activates Trap Stun so that he can combo into Synchro summoning Blackwing Armwing, and deals piercing damage. Before the duel can continue, another earthquake is felt, causing Jaeger to run away in a panic. A purple light radiates from the moment site with black smoke surrounding the area. Crow tries to speed away on his D-wheel while more citizens of Satellite are taken. Mikage displays Satellite on the monitor, but the video feed goes out. Neo Domino citizens become restless as Godwin has not provided more insight to what is going on and demand answers in front of the public maintenance department. Yugioh arrives to take the signers to Satellite, but Yusei wants Godwin to promise to complete the Daedalus Bridge to reconnect the cities once they defeat the Dark Signers. Yugioh lands the helicopter in front of the house where Martha and Saiga are waiting. Martha provides some more levity and tells Jack to do his king thing. Jack bends the knee and kisses her hand as he is in the presence of a lady. Martha then explains that the black fog appeared out of nowhere and that people are missing, including Crow, Rally, and the others. Martha tells everyone to stay for the night to have dinner and rest. She has Yugioh help prepare dinner, clean the restroom, and explains to Yugioh that the people of Satellite are experts at overcoming sadness.
でもよ、サテライト出身じゃセキュリティにはなれないぜ。
この世には絶対にダメなんてことはないんだよ。
While everyone is enjoying their dinner, Yusei explains that a new era will begin after the Dark Signers are defeated to reunite Satellite and Neo Domino. Suddenly, A lightning strike happens just outside the house and Rudger makes his appearance showing off the mark of the spider. Yusei and Aki lead Rudger away while Jack shepherds everyone else to safety. The duel begins, but everyone at the house realizes that Takuya is missing. Rudger immediately dark synchros onto the field underground arachnid to attack Yusei directly. He counters by quickly bringing monsters onto his field to bring out Road Warrior. Despite dealing damage, Rudger keeps his monsters alive and switches Road Warrior to defense. Yusei uses its effect to bring Turbo Booster to the field to tribute itself and destroys Underground Arachnid. Yusei is distracted by the kids arriving to see him duel when Rudger prepares his field to summon an Earthbound Immortal. More pressure is put on Yusei to win quickly as the Earthbound will use the kids as sacrifices to be summoned. Martha and Yugioh arrive to see the children inside the Geoglyph. Then Aki explains that they will be used as sacrifices if the Earthbound Immortal is summoned. It is all in vain as Rudger has enough counters for the summon, but Jack jumps through the flames to protect the two kids with the Signer power. Earthbound Immortal Uru is successfully summoned while Rudger taunts Yusei using his father's name. Rudger reveals that he worked with Professor Fudo 17 years ago at MIDS along with his younger brother, Rex Godwin. Rudger explains that Professor Fudo was worried about a potential disaster and wanted to stop the momentum experiment. Neo Domino and the sponsors would not allow it to stop and Rudger was then placed in charge. Yusei demands answers about the relationship between his father, Godwin, and Rudger, but he has no interest in telling him by swinging with Uru. The force of the blow causes the nearby building to begin to collapse and Takuya could be heard yelling for help. Martha and Yugioh make way to the child, but the unstable building causes Martha to continue to slip. In her final moments, she encourages everyone and reminds Yusei that he is the bridge that will link Satellite to the city. An enraged Yusei summons Stardust to attack Rudger directly, but Rudger prevents lethal with his trap and summons spider tokens in defense. To hurt Yusei further, he swaps places with Rally to force Yusei's hand. He freed Rally from his control, which means either Yusei chooses to die or Rally to die. Rally chooses for Yusei and reiterates that he is the hook for Satellite by destroying a monster on the field where the duelist will receive damage equal to its attack.
優勢サテライトを守って
The Dark Signers arrive to confront the Signers after the duel where they all lay the gauntlet down. Democ possesses the Ancient Fairy Dragon card and challenges Ruka. Misty stares down Aki. Yusei and Kiryu lock eyes. Jack recognizes one of the Dark Signers, and Rudger tells the Signers that all battle areas have been marked by the stars. Yusei chases after them, demanding to duel while Jack chases after the hooded Dark Signer. Carly sadly turns to him and asks that he meet her at the duel site. Yugioh asks for forgiveness as he was not able to save Martha, but Jack and Yusei tell him to stay strong. Yusei believes that by defeating every Dark Signer, the missing citizens, Martha, and Rally will come back. After the kids go to bed, he is confronted by everyone asking if what he said is true. Yusei says it's what he wants to believe.
そんな一時しのぎの嘘をついて何になる。
私は優勢の言ったことが本当だと信じるわ。
お前は自分のしてきたことに責任を感じてそう思いたいだけだ。
かもしれない。このデュエルの先にはみんなの未来がつながってるって信じたい。
The group tries to figure out where the star marks are, and Mikage says that they may be the control units from the first moment machine named Kapakapu, Kagaraiwa, Azlapisco, and Kusiyu, all named from the Quechua language. Mikage adds that the dragon cards were used to keep the seal on the 4 control units, but Professor Fudo removed them as part of his desire to stop the moment machine. Godwin took hold of all the cards and released them to the world, as they would end up in the hands of the predetermined signers. The group decides to split up to complete the one-on-one duels and head off in the morning. Rua, Ruka, and Yugioh make their way to Democ, but Kariban calls out to Ruka for help, and she is transported to the spirit world. Yugioh believes that Ruka fell out of the car and tells Rua that they need to look for her. As Rua wanders around to find her, he stumbles upon the first tower. Democ forces the duel onto Rua, where he promises to protect Ruka at all costs. Yusei drives by as he had seen the light to try to stop the duel, but Democ will not stop until there is a clear winner. Ruka wakes up in the spirit world in front of the crag that has the imprint of Ancient Fairy Dragon, but hears Rua in pain after he received a direct attack. Ruka hurries off to find Regulus as Ancient Fairy Dragon had told her previously. She comes across a city where spirits are hiding from capture by some monkeys. give us some silliness after the uber serious last 21 episodes. Thankfully, Ruka is saved by a 500-year-old Shota, and the pair run off to the forest to find Regulus. A flashback reveals that the Ape King had sealed Ancient Fairy Dragon in the spirit world and needs Regulus's power to fully control the dragon. Rua gets right back into the duel by summoning Power Tool Dragon to even the game state. Dimok still Dark Synchro summons the Ape King along with his field spell to set up the summon of an Earthbound Immortal. Ruka finds Regulus, but he is on the defensive as he failed to help Ancient Fairy Dragon. They notice a curse on Regulus's leg where he confuses what is being said to him. After some monkeys chase off Regulus, Ruka takes one of their staffs to help break the curse on him. The blast from breaking the curse destroys the log they were standing on, causing them to plummet into the raging river. Rua takes damage from the Ape King, but tanks it along with Power Tool Dragon due to his desire to protect Ruka. He calls out to his twin, and she reveals her Mark of the Crimson Dragon to Regulus after he finally comes to his senses. Regulus explains that he brought Ruka to the spirit world after Ancient Fairy Dragon said that a signer will help save them. They make way to the Ape King's castle where they pretend to have captured Regulus to meet with the king. Ruka tricks the Ape King into releasing the seal on Ancient Fairy Dragon, but they clumsily fall, exposing their identities. As Regulus attacks the Ape King, Ruka powers up Power Tool Dragon to destroy the Dark Synchro monster. The destruction causes Dimok to set 2 cards in the monster zone to successfully tribute summon Earthbound Immortal Yugioh by sacrificing the sealed dual spirits in the spirit world. Rua receives near lethal damage, but Ruka is returned in time to help her brother. She takes over the duel for the injured Rua, and Dimok summons the captured Ancient Fairy Dragon. Dimok attempts to swing for game, but Ruka activates Limiter removal to double Power Tool's attack, forcing Dimok to sacrifice Ancient Fairy Dragon to keep Yugioh on the field. Ruka planned for this and uses her trap to summon back Ancient Fairy to her side of the field. Ruka activates Ancient Fairy's effect to destroy the field spell to gain life points, then swings using Power Tool Dragon to cause Yugioh to lose attack points equal to Power Tool's attack. Ancient Fairy gains the attack based on the life point damage Ruka received, then calls game, defeating the first Dark Signer. Ancient Fairy Dragon tells everyone that the spirits that were used to summon Yugioh were returned home. After she promises to help everyone in their battle against the Dark Signers, Ruka places the card on the first seal. Rudger leads Bomber to the gate to the underworld. He tells Bomber that he will receive new powers as a Dark Signer once he dies. Fueled by revenge, Bomber accepts death and Rudger begins the ritual to transform Bomber. Meanwhile, Crow collapses out of a fridge, realizing that everyone he wanted to protect is gone. He sees a hieroglyph appear in the sky and intercepts Bomber.
てめえらが起こした黒い霧で俺が面倒見てた大切な子供たちが全員消えたんだよ。どうして関係ねえ子供たちまで巻き込むんだよ。
Crow makes sure the duel happens by placing a bomb on his D-wheel to blow up both duelists, and sets the condition that autopilot cannot be used, as he is aware that he will need to use his driving skills against an Earthbound Immortal. Yusei and the others make their way to the duel while Crow reveals that he had a normal clock on him. This motherfucker is crazy. I like him. He takes the first turn, but Bomber draws first blood, making Crow plunge into the flames. Yusei decides to venture off on his own and drives into the dark duel track while Crow wills himself back on as well. Crow returns fire, causing damage to nearby buildings, and the rubble nearly has Bomber spin out. He recuperates and prepares his field for his boss monster while Yusei makes his way to the battle. Yusei is shocked to see that Bomber is the duelist facing Crow. Bomber confirms that his desire for vengeance led to his death, and he had been resurrected as a Dark Signer. Yusei tells Crow to abandon the duel for the Signers to handle. Crow defies Yusei and reasons that he must avenge the children that were sacrificed.
クロウあいつらは俺の希望だった。あいつらはみんな俺自身だったんだ。
He relates to them as his childhood was him growing up as an orphan with no education, living in the slums, but made friends through duel monsters, including Yusei and Jack. He assumed the job of being a role model to the children of Satellite so that they may also experience the happiness that he found. Filled with rage, Crow swears vengeance on the Dark Signers. Yusei is adamant that they both stop as they had similar experience of losing those close to them. Crow, resolute in his desire to duel, demands that Yusei watch if he is his friend. Bomber applies the pressure by summoning Flying Fortress Skyfire and clears Crow's field. Crow purposely summons Vayu to trigger Skyfire's effect to pop and to send to Grave, but Crow's goal was to synchro summon from Grave using Vayu and Elfin the Raven to summon Blackwing Armor Master. He special summons Gale as follow-up, then attacks Skyfire to place a wedge counter to reduce its attack points to 0, allowing Gale the Whirlwind to swing over it. Bomber summons his Dark Tuner to synchro summon Dark Flat Top onto the track. Bomber wastes no time bringing back Skyfire and clears Crow's field a second time, causing Crow to crash.
来るな。まだ動けるのか。俺はお前たちダークシグナーを倒すまで絶対に諦めねえ。出なくちゃ。出なくちゃあいつらが浮かばれねえんだよ。
Crow pushes through the pain to rev up his D-wheel and continues to duel. Bomber sympathizes with Crow as he also lost his entire village. Bomber pushes for game by destroying one face-down card and attacking Crow directly. Crow activates Blackwing Backlash to blow up Bomber's field, but he special summons an Earthbound Immortal, Kakukalwa, during main phase 2. Crow summons Fane the Steel Chain to attack Bomber directly, causing Kakukalwa to switch to defense mode during Bomber's next turn. He still inflicts burden damage to Crow, then uses his trap to try to close out the game. Crow evades using a trap of his own, and Destiny draws Blizzard the Far North to bring back Shura the Blue Flame. He then tunes all three to synchro summon Silverwind the Ascendant. He activates Silverwind's effect to attempt to destroy Kakukalwa, but he sees the souls inside of Earthbound Immortal. Crow and Yusei plead that Bomber look at the Immortal, and he sees his siblings along with others from his village inside it. He understands that it was the Darksiders that had destroyed his village, not Crimson Dragon. As he apologizes, Rudger pushes Bomber to continue dueling. Bomber resists to tell Crow to finish the duel, but he is forced to take his turn and attack for lethal. Crow uses Parasite Mind to take control of Basara to tribute Silverwind in response to burn Bomber for game. Despite winning, falling debris caused by the duel is set to crush him, but Bomber rams into Crow to get him out of the way. Bomber thanks Crow for saving his village and tells him to rescue the children of Satellite. Bomber is remorseful and tells Yusei to defeat the Darksiders before passing on. A brief cut shows that the villagers have returned with Bomber's siblings wishing on a shooting star. Yusei then drives ahead to confront Kiryu. He reminisces how Team Satisfaction started falling apart as he, Crow, and Jack had all been burnt out after uniting the territories. Kiryu tells them that anyone with a dual disc is an enemy. Yusei takes down a duelist while Crow stops himself from dueling a child. He asks if duels are supposed to be meaningless, then sees Kiryu destroy the same kid's dual disc. Crow tackles Kiryu as he tried to stomp the kid's head, and Kiryu retaliates by punching him in the gut. Jack and Yusei stop the two from fighting further, with Crow saying enough is enough, then leaves the team. Jack follows suit, but Yusei still stands by Kiryu as he still sees him as a friend. The duo later witness security arrive on D-Wheels to apprehend the various gangs. Kiryu believed that he had found Team Satisfaction's final opponent and desired to crush security. Yusei was shocked and told Kiryu that he will have to do it himself. Yusei thought that this would cause Kiryu to stop, but Kiryu blew up dual discs at a security building. Jack, Crow, and Yusei rushed off to find Kiryu at their hideout to confront him. Yusei vows to save Kiryu from the Darksiders like he saved Yusei's life, then sets free. Kiryu tries to set up his handless combo like he did in the first duel with 100 Eyes Dragon. Kiryu deals damage to Yusei, but he combos into setting up his field and draws 2 additional cards, then he sets 2. Kiryu tries to stay in control of the duel and deals piercing damage to Yusei. After taking the damage, Yusei synchro summons into Junk Warrior to attack 100 Eyes, successfully destroying it. This causes Kiryu to add Kapakapu. Flashback to Team Satisfaction surrounded by security. Jack, Crow, and Yusei left their dual discs on the table and told Kiryu that they need to flee. Even though they didn't see eye to eye, they wanted to save Kiryu from security. Kiryu was stopped by a security member, but he used the nearby ladder to jump onto the D-wheel and put the member into a chokehold. He drove through crates, which led to the death of the security member. Kiryu grabbed the broken piece of wood and wanted to beat the corpse until Yusei tackled him to the ground. Jack and Crow hold onto Kiryu in a nearby building. Yusei went out to security and said that he was the leader, then asked to be arrested. Jack, Crow, and Yusei are held while Kiryu was arrested on first-degree charges. Kiryu's rage led him to believe that he was betrayed. He reveals that he was constantly beaten while in prison and had his deck taken away, the only thing left that he had to live for. He heard a voice while he was in his cell to succumb to darkness and enact revenge. Kiryu summons Kapakapu and attempts to directly attack Yusei. Yusei doesn't hide from his fear and uses his trap Baton of the Hero to redirect the attack to Junk Warrior. He then activates Burst Synchro Summon to avoid taking further damage and summons a monster equal to the damage he would have taken, Stardust Dragon. Yusei sets up his field to begin his takedown of Kapakapu, but Kiryu deals double damage to remain ahead in life point advantage. After the attack, Kiryu's D-wheel hits rough terrain and begins to drive into the purple flames, but Yusei extends his arm to save him. Yusei reminds Kiryu that he is still his friend and wants to save him from the Darksiders. The marks of the Crimson Dragon all vanish and unite as one on Yusei's back. The feelings of all signers help Yusei Destiny draw Majestic Dragon to tune all monsters on the field to summon Majestic Star Dragon. It negates the effects of Kapakapu and gains it, leading to winning the duel. Yusei holds Kiryu in his arms, saying that he will not forsake him. Kiryu tells him that he had wished for one last duel with Team Satisfaction and could not hate Yusei enough. He says he didn't feel satisfied, and vanishes.
桐生、お前は俺の仲間だ。俺は仲間のため、お前のために絶対にダークシグナーを倒す。
In the background, Rudger acknowledges that Kiryu was defeated, but says that he cannot stop while Yusei seals the second tower. Yusei and the other sea citizens of Satellite return. Another spider lands on Yugioh so that Rudger can communicate with him. Rudger challenges Yusei to a duel at the old Moment Machine site. Yusei knows it's a trap, but must duel to save Rowley, Martha, and the others. Meanwhile, Martial law has been declared in Neo Domino. Jaeger has a video call with a figure that asked if Godwin had made his move. Godwin is in satellite and makes way to Rudger with the security detail. They open fire on a spider, but they are quickly subdued. The two brothers go over their promises from 17 years ago. Godwin hid his identity to become the director, while Rudger had entrusted his left arm to him as a final hope. Rudger adds that his body is decomposing and he will not live much longer, but tells Godwin to follow the destiny of the God of Destruction. Godwin says that there is a new possibility and shows off his own modified left arm. While everyone ventures off to the moment site, Crow sees that security helicopters were there and goes off to investigate. Rudger meets with Yusei at an underground bridge. Rudger tells Yusei that fate had brought them to hate and risk their lives together, just like he and Professor Fudo had. Rudger activates the moment machine and light surrounds the area. Rudger explains that this light will surround the world at the cost of casualties. Then the two engage in a duel. Yusei begins the duel aggressively and synchro summons Junk Warrior onto the field. Rudger takes the direct attack, then flips over his trap to summon 2 tokens. Rudger calls to the field Earthbound Immortal Uru, using the spirits that are in the light as sacrifices. Yusei tries to remain aggressive, but he has his monsters destroyed by Rudger, and he attacks Yusei directly. Rudger activates his trap to prevent Yusei's negate and drops his life points to 100. Meanwhile, Crow finds an old family photo of the Fudos. He continues going through the abandoned site and runs into Godwin. Yusei draws a monster, and Rudger's trap effect drops Yusei's life points to 50.
強い運命を感じるよ。俺は貴様との運命など認めない。間もなくお前の魂はこのモーメントの光の中に消えるだろう。その前にお前の父の話をしてやる。
He tells Yusei that his father was a quantum physics expert where he discovered that planetary particles act like gears and tie others together. He named the discovery after Yusei. Using this new theory, he built the moment machine and explained that potential to Rudger and Godwin. The project had gone smoothly until unusual numbers started to appear. Every time they had conducted a test, strange weather patterns happened in the city. Professor Fudo feared that further testing would endanger the citizens of Neo Domino. Rudger conducted his own research and traveled to see the Nazca lines. There he met a man from the Iliaster. He was told that the test should continue to be conducted at the cost of removing Professor Fudo, if necessary. The Iliaster member revealed that the mark on Rudger's arm means that he cannot avoid destiny. Yusei is surprised to hear that Rudger has the final mark, but notices the mechanical forearm. Rudger made his way back to the moment machine where he received the vision of the battle from 5,000 years ago. Professor Fudo is then expelled from the MIDS project with Rudger replacing him as a successor. Rudger removed the seals, but Professor Fudo grabbed the cards before dropping Ancient Fairy Dragon. Security detail shot at Professor Fudo and he collapsed in the hallway, then gave the cards to Godwin. Godwin rushed off to find Rudger. There he saw that Rudger had a bloody left arm. He threw a container that had half the arm he had ripped off, and begged Godwin to escape while Rudger was still sane. Rudger had chosen his path to die and be reborn as a Dark Signer. Professor Fudo sent a baby Yusei out of the moment site before the explosion happened. Godwin and Crow walk through the hallway where Godwin acknowledges that Crow shares the same goal as Yusei. He asks that Crow share a message with him. If he defeats Rudger, he will be waiting for Yusei. Yusei asks how many lives Rudger plans to play with until he's satisfied, continuing to play the role of God. Rudger attempts to end the game. Yusei survives the turn, then sets 2 cards. Rudger attempts to destroy them, but Yusei activates Starlight Road to prevent the destruction and special summons Stardust. In a new chain, Yusei activates Shooting Star to destroy 1 card on the field. He attempts to destroy the field spell, but Rudger negates it. Yusei responds on his next turn with Battle Waltz to create another token to attack Rudger directly. Rudger tries to destroy Stardust and forces the token to battle Uru. The token is destroyed, but battle damage is negated, and it reduces Uru's attack to 500. Yusei tells Rudger that his madness has caused pain to countless others, resulting in death and suffering. Yusei doesn't know how to atone for his father's creation that caused all this harm, but Crow responds. He tells Yusei that he never thought for a second that his life was ruined, and if he believed in destiny, it was to meet Yusei.
だがYusei、俺は自分の人生がお前や親父さんのせいだなんて思ったことは一度もねえ。Yusei勝て、俺たちのためにも。
With the assurance of his friends, Yusei activates Stardust Flash to call back his ace monster, then swings at Uru for game. Despite losing, Rudger tells him that the strongest god has been awakened. He then says that if the 4 towers are not sealed before sunset, the king of the underworld will resurrect. He rips off his mechanical arm to destroy the bridge, and Yusei plummets to the moment light. Godwin returns to the altar to retrieve his brother's arm while more citizens are brought back. Jack goes to the tower that Carly is at where she tells him that she was killed by Divine and resurrected as a Dark Signer due to her strong desire to see Jack. Jack thought that she was sacrificed to the Earthbound Immortals and wanted to bring her back. Carly says that they are bound by twisted fate and begins the duel. Carly takes the first turn to set up her fortune ladies. Jack draws, but he doesn't play a card. Carly has enough damage on board for the OTK, connecting the first attack. Jack knows that Carly is not the type of person to hurt people and special summons Ogre of the Scarlet Sorrow, causing the destruction of the second Fortune Lady. Jack vows to bring back Carly from the Dark Signers, even if it costs him his own life. Carly prevents Jack from increasing his monster's attack points, so Jack sets 1 card. She continues to cause more pain to Jack and drops his life points to 800. His D-wheel spins out where Carly tells him that their true destiny will begin after the duel. She activates her trap card where Jack is blinded by the light. He wakes up in a bed where Carly had asked him if he was alright, then is told that he was resurrected by the power of the Darksigners. She shows that the Darksigners had won the battle and the world was plunged into hell. Carly tells Jack that they are the king and queen of the new hell. While being carried on their throne, Jack sees Carly's glasses on the ground and rejects the future that she proposed. He activates Changing Destiny and reminds Carly that she had taught Jack that they control their own destinies. The others call out to Yusei where he is shown to have arrived where spirits are. The spirits begin to surround Yusei where he sees the explosion of the first moment machine, then makes the connection that these spirits are the citizens of Neo Domino that died during the incident. The spirits attempt to drag Yusei down, but a bright light shines and a voice tells them that Yusei is innocent. A flashback to Carly's early days showed that she was into photography. She explained that when she would see someone do their best, it motivated her a little more. She is reminded of this after Jack shows her broken glasses, and that the real Carly would not want happiness from a hellish landscape. Jack continues to break through to Carly and gives her the choice to either deal burn damage to him, or gain life points based off of half of Fortune Lady's attack. Jack says that he believes in Carly and that she will make the right choice. Carly sees the faith that Jack has in her, and she chooses to increase her life points. She temporarily gains control of herself, saying that she doesn't want this fight, but a voice in her head tells her that she is a Darksigner and will continue. Jack goes on the offensive and synchro summons Red Dragon Archfiend, then reduces Fortune Lady's attack points to half to swing over it. The attack pushes Carly into the flames. Yusei reaches out to the voice and finds out that it's his father. Professor Fudo reveals himself, asking for Yusei's forgiveness for burdening him with his current destiny, but says that it can and will be changed. Yusei is transported at a moment's light and is caught by Yugioh and Crow. Jack calls out to Carly where she is still under the control of the Darksigner. She special summons 2 additional Fortune Ladies, leading to the summon of Earthbound Immortal Azlapiscu. Jack summons Battle Fader to prevent lethal.
カーリー聞いてくれ。俺はかつて他人を思いやることなどない人間だった。だが俺はお前によって教えられた。傷つき病んだ心も真に思いやる心によって救われるのだと。
He says that his current wish is to save the person he loves. All signer marks respond to Jack's strong desire, forming the Crimson Dragon on his back. Carly reaches out to Jack from beyond, asking for him to end the duel. He Destiny draws Majestic Dragon, then tunes his field to synchro summon onto the track Majestic Red Dragon. Jack plans to destroy Majestic Red to inflict burn damage to both and die alongside Carly. Carly immediately activates her trap to stop Jack from doing this so that he can continue to live and become a real king that is loved by all. Jack holds Carly in his arms with the pair talking about the desire for happiness. Carly gives one last embrace to Jack, saying that she will cheer for him and professes her love before fading away. Mikage takes Aki to where the final tower could be. They split up to try to find the tower at an abandoned theme park where a man encounters Mikage under the guise that he was sent there on orders by Godwin. Aki is led to a house of mirrors while everyone tries to find her. The same man approaches Yusei and they both agree to look for Aki. As the duel begins, Aki is shown a vision of Misty with her little brother, Toby, where the 2 siblings share a moment together. Toby says that he found another psychic duelist like him at the Arcadia movement. Misty tells Aki that every monster card drawn will be shuffled due to her spell and puts Aki in a lock where she cannot summon monsters. Misty leads Aki out while the man leads Yusei into a building where he finds a knocked out Mikage. The man charges at Yusei with a sword. Wild. Misty continues to show memories to Aki where she had met Toby. She tells Toby to do exactly what Divine says so that he can be just like her. Misty continues to lock down Aki by shuffling back monster and spell cards into the deck if they are drawn. The man gut punches, then kicks Yusei into the trap, seals the door, and lets water in to flood Yusei and Mikage. Misty shows the memory where Toby had died when Aki was in the middle of one of her dueling rampages in the outskirts of Neo Domino. Aki refuses to believe that the death took place as no casualties were reported. Misty bluntly says that the Arcadia movement hides information. The two go back and forth where Aki is shown Misty mourning the death of Toby, then a memory of Misty trying to take her own life. Aki feels remorse for what had happened and nearly falls on a piece of glass before being rescued by Divine. He tells Aki that he sealed her powers with a key phrase, then whispers into her ear. Aki goes Winter Soldier and Misty pushes the duel into its second phase by summoning Dragon Queen of Tragic Endings and reducing Aki's life points to 1900. Aki counters by summoning Black Rose Dragon onto the field, destroying the area. Yugioh hears Mikage yelling for help and he breaks them out with a metal pipe. Yusei tries to rush off to Aki, but Mikage stops him to say that Aki was told that she had killed Misty's younger brother. Rua and Ruka find Aki, but see that her expression is different. Black Rose destroys Dragon Queen, and Misty says that this is the psychic power that took Toby's life. She returns Bad End and powers it up to swing over Black Rose. Aki negates the attack, then reduces Bad End's attack to 0. Divine cheers on Aki from a distance, and Yusei barges through the door. Yusei wants to know what Divine's endgame is. He reveals his scar and says that he will use the brainwashed Aki's powers for revenge. but he forgot that he killed Carly, triggering the events at Arcadia. Yusei says that he won't allow Divine to do what he wants with Aki, but Divine says that he just needed to mess with Aki's heart to assure that he has firm control over her. Fuck him and his hair. He says that Misty is just as pathetic for wanting revenge for her younger brother. Yusei remembers Mikage explaining that the Arcadia movement may have been manipulating information with unclear reports about Toby's death. Back to the duel. Misty destroys Black Rose, then Aki resets her field. Misty uses her spell to use Dragon Queen to fulfill 2 tributes to summon Earthbound Immortal Kakaraiwa. Yusei continues to fight Divine and figures out that he killed Misty's younger brother. Divine admits to the murder of the sibling, where he continued to push the power of the electric shocks to find Toby's full potential. Toby died during the experiment, but Divine then adds that Aki was able to survive the same ordeal. When Divine attempts to kill Yusei, he reveals that he has a custom dual disc with chat enabled, allowing Misty to hear everything. Misty redirects her rage to Divine and asks Kakaraiwa to devour him. Misty apologizes to Aki for placing the blame on her and attempts to surrender. She is stopped by the voice of the Darksigner and is forced to continue the duel. Yusei reaches out to Aki to wake her up from her blank state. Misty tries to swing for lethal, but she reduces the damage to survive with only 200 life points left. Aki activates her spell to send monsters with equal levels for a synchro monster to bring back Black Rose Dragon from the grave. The Darksigner taunts Aki by telling her that it will destroy Misty. Aki is resolute in trying to save Misty and swings for game, but a trap card destroys 7 cards on the field to deal 2100 points of burn damage to Aki. Misty encourages Aki to follow through with winning the duel, and she activates her set trap to redirect lethal back to the Darksigner. Aki, filled with sorrow, picks up Misty's locket. Then everyone realizes that they did not seal every tower on time. An earthquake is felt through satellite, and a massive geoglyph appears in the sky. Black sludge escapes from the old moment site and takes the shape of a demon-dragon hybrid. Karibon warns Ruka that they cannot let the monster make way to Neo Domino. The signers have their mark shine, and Crimson Dragon makes its 3rd appearance. The group are sent to Godwin's mansion where the hieroglyph is formed. Godwin comes out of the shrine claiming that everyone is standing on a ceremonial ground where the Crimson Dragon and signers will be used as sacrifices to the king of the underworld. Godwin then flexes so hard, his shirt rips in a way that would make everyone from Baki proud. He reveals himself as the last Dark Signer and attaches Rudger's arm to his body with the goal to become God. As the temple ascends, Godwin begins the ceremony through the means of a fucking duel. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! Yusei, Jack, and Crow all charge towards Godwin in the final battle between the Dark Signers and Signers. Crow starts things off with Mistral the Silver Shield and Borea the Spear, then sets 1. Jack summons Mad Archfiend and sets 1. Yusei draws for turn and demands to know why Godwin became a Dark Signer. Godwin says that his brother had given him his left arm with the mark of the Crimson Dragon, but Rudger also had the mark of a Dark Signer on his right arm. The Dark Signer took action and he fell victim to it, but chopped off his left arm and gave it to Godwin. He then assembled the Signers at the Fortune Cup tournament and set sights to face his brother.
私たちの運命は変えられない。兄さんが耐えられなかったことを運命に預けてしまったもの、死を前にして私は切に願う。私をダークシグナーに。
Godwin's plan is to destroy the world with the power of the Crimson Dragon and create a new one. The trio tell Godwin that they will fight, and Yusei summons Max Warrior and sets 1 face down. Godwin quickly synchros onto the field Sun Dragon Inti, then Dark synchros Moon Dragon Quilla. Godwin sets 2 and has Quilla destroyed during end phase. Crow takes the next turn to summon Blackwing Armor Master and summons Elfin the Raven. He swings into Sun Dragon Inti to place a counter and destroys it with Elfin. Godwin laughs it off, saying that opposing the Sun God is foolish, and the legendary D-Wooler learned that all too well. The result is Elfin being destroyed and Crow takes damage equal to its attack. Quilla is resurrected with Inti's destruction, then preaches that one must never defy God, but the only way to change destiny is to become one. The Signers' marks all disappear and they form on Godwin's chest. Jack defiantly says that he will overcome destiny, sets 1, and chips away at Godwin's life points. After the direct attack, Crow flips over his trap to inflict another 1000 points of damage. Yusei backs up the duo and activates his own trap to special summon Junk Synchron to synchro summon Junk Archer. Junk Archer removes Quilla from play until the end phase, then attempts an attack. Godwin responds by activating his trap to negate the attack and summons 2 tokens. After resolving, he adds an Earthbound Immortal to his hand. Yusei sets 2 and Quilla returns to the field. Godwin then summons Wiracocha Raskan. For its summon, the nearby security members and reporters are sacrificed while condors begin surrounding the area. When one of them try to attack Yusei, Aki and Ruka provide support by summoning Black Rose and Ancient Fairy Dragon. Godwin threatens to use Wiracocha Rasca's effect to reduce Yusei's life points to 1 to experience hopelessness. Kraut proudly says that the group is built different and move forward like the legendary D-Wheeler. Godwin retorts that he knows him all too well because he is him.
かつてのお前の思いに俺たちは心打たれたんだゴドウィンお前がどう思おうとそのスピリットは俺やユウセイジャックサテライトのみんなに受け継がれてんだ 絶望なんかしてたまるかよ。
Godwin activates his effect, but Crow activates his trap, Life Exchange, to take the damage instead of Yusei, the one who created their bonds. After Crow takes the damage, the trap's second effect destroys Quilla with him charging directly into it, then activates Blackwing Bombardment before crashing onto the track, eliminating him from the duel. Jack follows up with summoning Red Dragon Archfiend, but is forced to do battle with Inti. Yusei activates Scrub Raid to end the battle phase.
ジャック・アトラス君は何のために戦う？運命を見極めるためでもない。まして絆など君にはどうでもいいことのはずだ。君はサテライトの友を捨てた。キングの称号を得るために。
Godwin tries to appeal to Jack by telling him that he can only become king again by abandoning everything, including his bonds. Jack tells Godwin he was right, then follows through with his attack to destroy Inti and deal damage but takes half the damage in return. Quilla returns from grave and Jack says 1. Jack tells Godwin to not forget that he is no longer king. Jack acknowledges that he threw everything away once, but he gained one thing to prevent him from being alone, and says that he is now part of the Signers. Yusei attempts to remove Quilla from play, but Godwin tributes it to increase his life points and to continue the lock with Inti returning from grave. Time begins to become a factor as the king of the underworld is close to making way to the altar where Godwin will use the Signers as sacrifice to resurrect them fully. Godwin taunts Jack, saying that everyone can easily become lonely when staring at death. He uses Wirako Carrasca's effect to drop Jack's life points to 1. Godwin offers Jack as a sacrifice to the king of the underworld, with it blasting at Jack and Yusei, causing Jack to crash and be eliminated. Yusei charges forward with the hopes and bonds of everyone. Godwin reduces Yusei's life points to 1 for the trio to have a combined 3 life points. Dinomorphia players would be proud.
まだ俺は屈しない。希望があるから決して絶望はしない。そしてその希望を支えるのは仲間たちの絆。俺のターンからカードを2枚ドローし、その後手札から1枚を墓地に送る。
Yusei summons Debris Dragon and Sonic Chick to help synchro into Stardust Dragon. He uses Blackwing Bombardment that Crow had set to increase Stardust attack to 5,000, then attacks Inti. When Godwin tries to bring back Quilla, Yusei activates Jack's Conquest of the Supreme Ruler to negate the summon, finally ending the Sun and Moon lock. Yusei appeals to Godwin by asking if he had forgotten about the bond he had with his brother. Yusei tells Godwin that he tried to carry on the legacy of Rudger by creating the Daedalus Bridge as the legendary D-Wheeler and had kept his left arm. Godwin pushes for game by attacking directly, but Jack reaches out to Yusei to use his final card. Yusei sends Scrub Raid to grave to end the battle phase, and Godwin attempts to burn Yusei's remaining life points. Yusei counters by activating Joint Future to prevent the damage.
ゴドウィン、お前は神になどなりたいわけじゃないんだろ。兄を忘れることなんてお前にはできないはずだ。
ふざけるな！兄を超えねば神にはなれぬ。
違う。人には忘れることのできないものがある。誰にも断ち切れないものがそれぞれの心の中に。
The Mark of the Crimson Dragon returns to the signers with the dragon head now on Yusei's forearm, while the tail is granted to Crow as the final signer. Yusei screams that the Crimson Dragon chose their bond over Godwin. He Destiny draws Majestic Dragon and special summons from grave Xiaolong to summon onto the track Majestic Star Dragon. Majestic Star negates Wirako Carrasca's effect, then Yusei flips over Synchro Baton to increase Majestic Star's attack for every Synchro monster in grave, pushing it to 6,200. In a state between life and death, Yusei encounters a normal Godwin and Rudger along with the chosen Darksigners. Godwin finally acknowledges that the bond between friends is the way to oppose destiny. Yusei is asked to take care of the Darksigners when resurrected. Rudger and Godwin then make their way to the afterlife. Majestic Dragon saves Jack and Crow from their freefall as light from the victory reigns over Neodomino and Satellite. Sometime later, Aki, Rua, Ruka, and Mikage are at a cafe and acknowledge where the former Darksigners are. Rua mentions that Yusei is late. Yugioh arrives to let the group know that Jack and Crow aren't there either. Carly comes out of her disguise saying that she is missing out on a massive scoop as she cannot remember her time as a Darksigner.
でもよかった。シティもサテライトの人もみんな戻ってこられて。
Yusei, Jack, and Crow look on as the Daedalus Bridge has finally been completed and ride off for a free-for-all duel as a toast to their future.